G'day my friends, 22nd of February, if I got it right, 2026, here with George. I'm here to talk about another message of hope. Today's topic is this. I've estimated 2,300 Bible verses on money, wealth, possession, and yet the question is, why are Christians, not all of them, are still broke? Good question to ask, right? Okay, let's begin with me. I want to tell you about a mistake I made early in my marriage that still make me a bit cringe-worthy when I think about it. But everything has a reason, isn't it? It's starting to drizzle here, so I've got to find a drier place to start recording again, huh? Let's continue anyway. Alright, my wife and I were young. We're trying to do the right thing with our money, and we went to see a financial advisor. It was my idea, of course. Got to be a good husband, right? So we paid him good money too. He looked professional. I found him on TV. He seemed confident and seemed to know what he was talking about. He sold us. That's right, he sold us. He sold us a line of credit product linked to a home loan that we got. And honestly, neither of us fully understood it. I wasn't money savvy in those days. And to be fair, it wasn't necessarily a bad product, so I'm not going to bag it. It's just that the problem was we didn't know how to operate it properly. Yeah, he might have said it on one session, this is how you do it, but if you don't have experience in it, you're going to struggle like I did. Then one day we noticed, this is interesting, $1,000 had appeared in the account out of nowhere. That sounded nice, right? No explanation. So we flagged it with the bank. I rang them. A staff member said, oh yes, I'll investigate. Of course, never heard back, even after multiple phone calls I had. Well, because the interesting thing is the next day the $1,000 was gone. It's just disappeared. Well, my wife and I looked at each other and thought, we don't feel safe about this. So we moved bank to different banks shortly after that. Now, I don't tell you that to warn you off financial products entirely. I don't do, like I said, I don't give advice on financial products. I tell you because we paid someone for guidance and walked away more confused, more exposed than when we arrived. Not a good taste in the mouth. And the painful irony was that we were generally trying to be responsible. There's a little shelter here. Maybe I can hide myself there if they allow me to. Okay, so which brings me to the question I want to sit with today. Why do so many Christians struggle with money? Okay, I'm not talking about non-believers. It's Christians. People who carry a book containing over 2,300 verses on money, possessions and wealth. That's the Bible I'm talking about. Why are so many of them anxious, in debt, making decisions that contradict everything their own faith teaches? Why is that? Alright, well, part of the answer I think starts earlier than we realize. Let me tell you a story. I remember being in year 10 at a school. Our usual home economics teacher was away. I won't give names, but she was one of the one that 70% of the class didn't like anyway. So she didn't turn up that day. Maybe she was sick. So instead we have our physical education teacher. He stepped in as the substitute teacher for the day. Great. And I'm looking back, whether he wasn't given any instructions like a lesson plan or he just decided to improvise, I honestly don't know. But he turned the whole lesson into a free-for-all question session. Yep, we like that, like an FAQ. So I remember one student, his name's Anthony, completely earnestly put up his hand and asked, sir, if there's so much profit in the world, why doesn't the government just print more money? Just print more money and give it to the poor. That makes sense to me. Well, the class for this was brilliant. It was genuinely brilliant. A room for 15-year-olds, imagine, nodding along like we just solved it. Great global economics. No, we didn't. I can't recall what the answer was he gave, the teacher, but I'm pretty confident the word inflation never came up, because I would have looked it up in dictionary. Now, I tell you that not to mock a 15-year-old with a creative solution to poverty, and good on him to think about it. I tell you that because that was a Catholic school. And you know my opinions about Catholic schools. And if that's the level of financial conversation happening in classrooms, and I don't think much has changed, there's no wonder many Christians arrive at adulthood financially clueless and stay that way. Oh boy. We've been let down by our education. That's my opinion only. And I think here's the harder truth. We've also let ourselves down. So we have a responsibility to take too. And I say that because we have access, we as Christians have access to something no school curriculum has ever matched. But we just stop reading it, right? Let me quote you Psalm 24 verse 1. Here's a powerful verse that will start you with this stewardship ministry if you want to choose that path. Because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell in. So I'm going to explain. It means everything. Not most of it, not a portion we tie on Sunday. No, it's everything. Which means the money in your account right now, whatever that number is, big or small, it doesn't matter to me, isn't yours. Mine isn't belong to me. It never was. Because here's the secret sauce. You are a steward of the money. You're a manager entrusted with someone else's resources. That's the resources that Jesus has given you today. Now that does probably sound restrictive at first. After all, I earn it, right? I make money, I work hard. Yeah, I get it. But think about it from other direction. If the money belongs to God, then you are managing resources on behalf of someone who owns everything, who is infinitely wise. That's our Lord Jesus Christ. And who has promised to meet every need you have. What a great God. So don't think of it as a burden. That is the most financially secure position any human being could possibly occupy. And you have that role. But the problem is we don't live like it is true. Be honest. We spend like it's ours. We hoard it like it's ours. In fact, last night, a good friend of mine living in Japan said something recently. I haven't been able to shake it off, right? Because I know what's in his heart. It's a good heart. He was frustrated, because genuinely frustrated, watching some billionaires keep accumulating while families sit on waiting lists at the Smith family and the Salvation Army just to meet basic needs. The hum you hear in the background, that's the new loop that they just done. Well, he said, this is what he said, right, my friend? What is $150,000 going to erode from $1 billion fortune? How is that possible, right? It's a drop in the ocean. And yet, if you think about it, if you apply it, it could change everything for a struggling family. Now, I believe in doing charity work, but I always give good theology to people. Yeah? Sound theology. You got to have both. And he was fair about it. I mean, he said he didn't know what these people do privately. Maybe they give generously in the background. I'm hoping they do. But he said if he was in their shoes, he'll give away any day of the week without blinking. I believe him, yeah. God bless his soul. And that's what stewardship looks like when it's working. When money is held loosely, it's given freely. Because the person holding it understands it was never really theirs to begin with. It's still raining here, guys. When we generally grasp that save better, spend more carefully, invest more wisely, you give more freely. That's the path to take. Generosity stops being loss and starts being obedience. So those 2,300 verses I mentioned before, they aren't written there, they aren't laid in the Bible to overwhelm us. They're there because God knew we need reminding. I need reminding. Frequently. From multiple angles too. Because this particular lesson, it's not yours. You're just managing it, right? It's one our hearts resist almost constantly. Okay, well, I've talked about the problems. What about the solutions? Here it is. Let's go back to the Bible. From an angle, not as religious obligation, but as the most practical financial manual ever written. Oh yes. Yeah, better than Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All those series. Better than The Richest Man in Babylon. Way better. Now you read what it actually says about debt. Contentment, generosity, saving and investing. All those topics are well covered in there. Now more wisdom per page than any finance book on any bestseller list. Check that out yourself. Put in a comment, in fact. Which other books do you think the Bible would trump any day? And if you need specific guidance, I recommend you find a qualified Christian financial advisor. Someone whose framework starts with stewardship rather than accumulation. So that's the benchmark you should look at too. Someone who will give you advice that serves your future rather than, the commission. They need the commission, I understand, but their goal is to help you. The world has plenty of people who will hand you products you don't fully understand. I've been a victim. I don't want you to be like that. What you do need is wisdom you can live every day. And God, with 2,300 patient, persistent reasons, has already given it to you. Okay? Alright, that's all I've got for today. I've had a really good time. I missed out yesterday, but I went today to the caravan show. Tell you what, the technology they put in every year, it's amazing. Thanks for being with me. Have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.